Red alert in Ashburn. Is Adam Peters about to make the mistake that could sink the next 3 years? With the trade deadline breathing down our necks and only 6 draft picks in the bag. For 2026, one desperate move could bury our future. And while the house is burning, guess what Stephen A. Smith is suggesting? Making a drastic call on our star QB. Is it protection or betrayal of the team's identity? This is straight up dynamite for the locker room culture. But hold up. In the middle of the chaos, 3 unknown young guns just revealed the franchise rescue plan. Who are the unexpected heroes bringing real hope? Their names could change everything. If you love the Commanders, do not move. Look, I'm gonna say something a lot of folks don't want to hear. But it's the hard truth. We're sitting at 3-5. Just got smacked by 21 points on Monday Night Football. And the trade deadline is right around the corner. And you know what? Adam Peters is at a crossroads that's gonna shape the next 3 years of this franchise. Here's the real situation, Commanders Nation. Peters went all in this offseason. He brought in Laramie Tunsil, brought in Martian Latimore, moved picks like poker chips. And for what? To build on what we did last year when we made it to the NFC Championship. But now, what's the reality? This season is slipping away faster than Jayden Daniels can say hut. And here's what I think needs to happen. Peters has to fight the urge to make another desperate move. Why? Because we only have 6 picks for the 2026 draft. 6, Commanders Nation. The Cowboys have 9. The Eagles have 8, and us. After all the moves we made, we're left with 6. 1 first, 1 third, 1 fifth, to 6th and 1 7th. You get what that means? It means if Peters pulls off another big trade now, we're mortgaging our future to try and save a season that, let's be real, is already pretty much lost. And I'm not saying we throw in the towel hell nitrogen monoxide. What I'm saying is we need to be smart. Nicky Jobvalla from The Athletic nailed it. This roster needs a lot of work. Getting short-term help is gonna cost us long-term. And you know what's the most frustrating part? Last year at this time, we were 6-2, riding a wave. Now we're 3-5, asking ourselves what the hell happened. Injuries haven't helped. That's obvious, but there's something deeper going on. Something that a last-minute trade won't fix. The problems we're facing go beyond just bringing in a new player. We need time, we need development, we need our young guys to grow. Because here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Jayden Daniels last year was covering up a lot of our issues. When your rookie QB is playing like an MVP, it's easy to ignore the holes in your O-line. The inconsistency in your secondary, the pass rush that disappears in crunch time now. Is there a player we should move? Absolutely, Noah Igbinoghene. This dude has only played 43 snaps this season, 43. And we made him inactive against Kansas City, which is basically the NFL's way of saying, this guy's on the block, and guess what? The cornerback market is hot right now. The Rams just picked up Roger McCreary. The Browns swapped corners with Jacksonville. Teams are desperate for corners. The Colts, the Broncos, the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings, the Bears, even the damn Eagles. Igbinoghene is 25, in the last year of his deal. And cheap. Can we get a 6th rounder for him? I think so. Should we do it? No question, because every pick matters when you've only got 6 to work with. But here's the question I'm asking you. Do you trust Adam Peters to hold the line? Because Josh Harris didn't buy this team to lose. Dan Quinn didn't come here to have a losing season in year 2. The pressure to make a splash move is massive, but Peters is smarter than that. He knows this league is year to year. What worked last year means nothing this year. And what we do now will decide whether we're chasing Super Bowls in 2026 and 2027 or still digging out of a hole. So I'm telling you this, hold on to those picks. Keep that cap flexibility and focus on the future. Because if there's one thing we've learned in Washington over the last 2 decades, it's that shortcuts never work. And if you thought the trade deadline drama was wild, wait till you hear this. Stephen A. Smith just dropped a bomb on ESPN. That's got Commanders Nation split right down the middle. And when I say split, I mean half the fan base wants him fired, and the other half is wondering if he's actually got a point. Stephen A. suggested that if we keep losing, the Commanders should consider shutting down Jayden Daniels for the rest of the season to protect him. Yeah, you heard that right. Shut him down. Put him on the shelf. Preserve our future. And before y'all start yelling, let me break down his logic. Because even though it sounds crazy, Stephen A. ain't dumb. He said, Jayden's got a slim frame. They don't have the personnel to protect him. He's the future of the franchise. You gotta protect him at all costs, and you know what? In theory, I get where he's coming from. Jayden's already missed 3 games this season with that hamstring injury. Our playoff chances are basically zero. We're 3-5 in a division where the Eagles are running the show. And the Cowboys, even struggling, still have more wins than us. But here's where Stephen A is dead wrong, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. First off, do you know Jayden Daniels? Because I do. This dude is a competitor. He's not gonna sit on the bench while his team's out there fighting. That goes against everything he is as a player and a leader. When Joe Burrow broke his wrist his rookie year, did they shut him down? Nitrogen monoxide. When Andrew Luck was getting killed behind a trash O-line, did they sit him? No. Second. What message are you sending to your locker room if you bench your star QB because we're not making the playoffs? You're telling them this season doesn't matter. You don't matter. That's poison for team culture. Third, and this is the biggest point, Jayden needs those reps. He's a second-year quarterback. Every snap he takes is development. Every defense he reads is experience. Every audible he calls is growth. You think Patrick Mahomes became Patrick Mahomes by sitting on the bench? Hell no now. I'll ask you this. Is there any scenario where sitting him makes sense? Yeah, 1. If we get to week 18, we're mathematically eliminated and there's absolutely nothing to play for, then maybe you consider giving him a rest. But that's the last week, not now. Because here's the reality Stephen A isn't factoring in. This season ain't over yet. Yeah, we're 3-5. Yeah, we just got stomped by Kansas City. But we've got Seattle this Sunday on Sunday Night Football. Then we hit the bye week. You know what can happen in 2 weeks. If Jayden comes back against Seattle and we win, we're 4-5 heading into the bye. 2 weeks to rest, 2 weeks to heal, 2 weeks to regroup, and after that, who knows? The Eagles started 10-1 last year and then fell apart. The Cowboys are 4-4 and look at WFUL. The Giants are still the Giants. This division is still up for grabs, and anyone saying otherwise isn't paying attention. But beyond the numbers, beyond the standings, there's something bigger here. Jayden Daniels is the future of this franchise, not just because of his insane talent, but because of his mindset. He's a leader. He's someone his teammates respect. He's someone who's gonna be here for the next 10 to 15 years. And you think benching him now, when he's healthy and ready to go, is gonna help build that winning culture we want? Nitrogen monoxide way. Look, I respect Stephen A. He's one of the best at what he does. But on this, he's wrong. Completely, absolutely, 100% wrong. Because here's what I believe. Jayden Daniels needs to be on that field. He needs to feel the heat. He needs to learn how to win when things are tough. He needs to build that us against the world mentality that all great quarterbacks have. Did Tom Brady have losing seasons? Yup. Did Peyton Manning go through rough patches? Yup. Did Aaron Rodgers hit slumps? Absolutely. But they all played through it and came out stronger on the other side. So no, Stephen A, we're not shutting down Jayden Daniels. We're not preserving him like some museum piece. He's a football player. And football players play. But here's what really matters. Commanders Nation. Yeah, we lost to Kansas City. Yeah, it was ugly. Yeah, we got smacked by 21 on Monday Night Football. But in the middle of all that chaos, in the middle of all that frustration, 3 young players gave me hope. And when I say hope, I'm not talking about blind fan optimism. I'm talking about real evidence that this franchise has pieces to build something special. In the coming years, let's start with Trey Amos. This kid, our second-round pick, is playing like a 10-year vet. Against Kansas City, he covered Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. You know how hard that is? Those are 2 of the most explosive receivers in the league. And you know how many catches he gave up? 1, just 1, on 3 targets, for 6 yards. And he even had a pass breakup. While Quan Martin is regressing and Mike Sainristil is struggling, Trey Amos is out there looking like the best player in our secondary. I'm telling you right now, we found a cornerback to build around. This kid is a second-round steal, and while everyone's talking about our defensive issues, Trey Amos is quietly turning into a shutdown corner. But you know what's even more exciting? He's a rookie. This is his first year in the NFL. Imagine what he'll be in year 2. In year 3. This kid has all pro potential. Now let's talk about Luke McCaffrey. Yeah, Christian's little brother. And before you say, oh, he's only here because of his name, stop right there. This kid is earning his spot on this roster against Kansas City. He had a 37-yard return that set us up to score. But more than that, he made a toe-tap sideline catch that had me jumping out of my seat. That's the kind of grab only big-time receivers make. Yeah. He only had 3 catches for 24 yards. But it's not about the stats. It's about the fact that every time he gets a shot, he makes something happen. Every time the ball goes his way, something good comes out of it. And here's what I think. Luke McCaffrey needs more targets, more chances, because what we're seeing is the development of a receiver who could be a real weapon in this offense, not just on special teams, but as a legit threat in the passing game. But the biggest surprise of the night was Brandon Coleman. This kid had been inactive since week 2, 5 straight weeks without seeing the field. Then suddenly, Laramie Tunsil tweaks his hamstring, and Coleman has to step in. And guess what happened? He played 30 pass blocking snaps. 0 sacks allowed. Just 3 pressures, according to PFF. He stepped in and protected Marcus Mariota's blind side like he'd never missed a beat. Now here's the context you need to understand. Coleman's name has been floating in trade rumors. Teams are interested. And after what he showed against Kansas City, his value just went up. But here's my question. Should we trade Brandon Coleman? On one hand, if we can get a solid pick for him, it makes sense, especially with only 6 picks in the draft. But on the other hand, isn't he exactly the kind of young player we should be developing? Here's the reality. Laramie Tunsil is 31. He's in the last year of his deal. How much longer is he gonna play at an elite level? 2 years? Maybe 3. Then what? Brandon Coleman could be our left tackle of the future. But what excites me about these 3 players isn't just that they played well in one game. It's what they represent for the future of this franchise. Because while everyone's focused on the 3 and 5 record, the injuries, the playoff odds, these 3 are showing that there's young talent on this roster. Trey Amos in the secondary, Luke McCaffrey on offense, Brandon Coleman on the O-line. Those are pieces. Those are building blocks. Those are the reasons why, even if this season is frustrating, the future is still bright. And here's what separates successful franchises from the rest. The good ones identify young talent early. They give them chances. They develop them. And then they build around them. The Niners did it with Deebo Samuel. The Eagles did it with Devonta Smith. The Cowboys, yeah. I hate them, but they did it with Micah Parsons. And us, the Commanders, we've got a shot to do the same with these 3. Because here's the truth. It doesn't matter how many free agents you sign, how many trades you make if you can't develop young talent. You'll never be a consistent contender. Never. The Chiefs aren't dominant just because of Patrick Mahomes. They're dominant because year after year, they develop young guys who contribute. The Eagles didn't make the Super Bowl just because of Jalen Hurts. They did it because they've got hungry young players all over the roster, and that's what these 3 represent. Hunger, development, future. So yeah, we lost to Kansas City. Yeah, we're 3 and 5. Yeah, this season isn't going how we wanted. But when I see Trey Amos locking dudes down, when I see Luke McCaffrey making explosive plays, when I see Brandon Coleman holding down the pocket like a vet, I see hope. Not blind hope. Not empty optimism. But real hope based on real talent and real potential. Talent and real potential. Commanders Nation, here's what you need to understand. This season is tough. It's frustrating. It hurts, but it is not the end of our story. Adam Peters needs to be smart at the trade deadline. Jayden Daniels needs to be on the field, and these young guys need to keep developing. Are we making the playoffs this year? Probably not. Does that mean this season is a waste? Hell, nitrogen monoxide. Because every snap Jayden takes is experience. Every game Trey Amos dominates is development. Every chance Luke McCaffrey gets is growth. Every block Brandon Coleman makes is progress. And that's how you build dynasties. Not with perfect seasons, not with flawless records, but with steady growth, constant development, and smart building. So here's my question to you. Should we trade Brandon Coleman or keep him as our left tackle of the future? Do you trust Adam Peters to resist the urge to make a panic move? And are you ready to see Jayden Daniels come back against Seattle and remind everyone why he's special? Drop your answers in the comments. And if you're part of this family, if you bleed Burgundy and Gold, if you believe in the future of this franchise, then subscribe to this channel. Because we're not seasonal fans, we're legacy fans. Catch y'all in the next video, where we'll break down everything that goes down at the trade deadline. And get ready for that crucial game against Seattle. And remember, hail to the Redskins.